So that is the end, Councillor, of the formal part of this last council meeting, and before we go into confidential, this is the time for me as the chair to thank all of you for your contributions over the last 3 years, and to also extend my thanks to the staff for your service that you have provided very professionally to us all. I also want to acknowledge that this is a day for Councillor Searancke. It's your retirement day, really, after 30 years of service, and I'm sure that there are councillors that will wish to say a few words. But because this is a time of great uncertainty for many of us around this table, in fact all of us around this table, it's really appropriate that it will be the incoming council that will mark and celebrate the contributions of those with long service to our community. We think that that's absolutely appropriate. There could be other changes of faces around this council table, and we're all very aware of that, with 6 weeks and a couple of sleeps to go. So it would be a task for an incoming council to look at how we mark the service of those that are no longer sitting at this council table. So I would also like to thank the people of Rotorua, those that have come to the gallery and been active. They've really enjoyed watching how this council operates, and I think it's always good to have people in the gallery. Otherwise it feels a rather strange virtual experience with those that are watching streaming at home. But thank you for the numbers that have picked up on watching the streaming at home. So I want to wish everyone well, those that vote, and we do hope that we get a better turnout than we got in the previous election. That would be the hope of everybody here, because you never really have a mandate unless you have a majority, and turnout is the best way of showing the community's interest. So thank you also to those that are taking part in the next election. That is a very big field, and I take that as a positive interest in council and the workings of council in the shaping of this district that everybody loves. So to those candidates and for all of us seeking re-election, I wish you all well too. And I'm going to reserve any comment till the end, but I'm sure some people wish to make some comment. And Mark, you've made yours, but someone else may wish to make any comment. Councillor Kent.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank Councillor Searancke for her service to this community, her integrity, her wisdom, and a vast experience that I don't think can be matched by the rest of us put together around this table. It's been an honour to serve with you. It's been an honour to learn from you, and I wish you well in retirement.
I remember contacting Glenys and going and having a cup of tea with her when I first decided to stand for council, and I found that a very valuable experience, and I've actually extended that to some of the women I know who are standing as well. And I know one piece of advice Glenys often said was, have your debate in the chamber, then get over it. You win some, you lose some, and then just get past it with some convivial sharing in the green room, and I've certainly taken that piece of advice on board. I wish, Glenys, you significant joy in this next stage in your life. You have added significantly to the creative offering in our community with your long service with the musical theatre and your heavy involvement in that area, and I think that there are many people who are richer for attending those sorts of performances that you helped guide, and I know you've got back involved in that area, and I do wish you all the best in that.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think the only one around the table who doesn't have a moment of uncertainty on the 8th of October is Councillor Searancke, because she's decided her own course, and congratulations on her for that. I learnt a lot from Councillor Searancke in the previous term as Deputy Chair of Infrastructure Services, and across my whole service of council, but I would like to also acknowledge, having worked in public service in this community for a long period of time, the wider contribution that Councillor Searancke has made in other entities outside of council. So she's been involved in a lot of sporting, cultural areas around the community, and it's been a great contribution, and I'm sure it's not the end of that. She will continue to make those contributions, so I salute her for that.
Councillor Weber.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And Glenys, I just want to acknowledge all the years we've worked together, particularly in our hearing processes, and of course the district plan that took us over 6 months and lots of reading, hard work. So I've always acknowledged Glenys as a particularly hard worker through that process. And when I first came on council, there was actually only Glenys, Maureen and myself as women. And so we did think differently on occasions, but actually gender didn't really enter into it. We always voted as we felt for every situation. There were some things we communally understood, but we always voted as independents. So I respect Glenys for that. And I also, along with Councillor Donaldson, wish to acknowledge the passionate advocacy that Glenys has raised around this council on many occasions. And we think in particular of hockey, always a strong passion, particularly with the renewing of the surface. And Glenys would bring it back every which way she could to make sure that hockey was well supported. Musical theatre, and of course all the various wide interests that I know Glenys has had and supported in this community over many years. So we will wish you well, and I'm sure you've got many things to do, and you won't you'll be very busy, I'm sure, still, but not too busy, I hope, to enjoy things. So thank you for your contribution.
Chair, while it's appropriate that we acknowledge Councillor Searancke today, and my colleagues have certainly done a fine job with that, just want to mention some of the things that Glenys has been involved in that have really gone under the radar. But those people involved in those activities have certainly looked to her for leadership and guidance. And I talk about Rotorua Brass. Glenys, you've been president of Rotorua Brass for a long time, in furthering music pursuits, her involvement with the arts, her involvement with Whare Aroha, huge contribution. Her involvement at the grassroots level with mental health survivors, psych survivors in that area, she's played a huge role in that. Musical theatre has been said, but again in hockey, and how she got us all and bribed us all to spend that $1.2 million on the water turf. We realised the other one needed replacing, and she advocated strongly for that. And if there's anything that you will be renowned for is your tenacity in terms of getting the backstage of the theatre fixed, because it was the pits, it was a dump, it was disgusting, and it wasn't of great credit to Rotorua. So I just pay that tribute, and Glenys, I just wish you well, and wherever your pathway takes you in the future. But also, Madam Chair, I take this opportunity as a long-serving councillor. I'm fighting my 10th election coming up shortly. I've served under 4 mayors, and I want to pay a tribute to you and Councillor Donaldson for the work ethic that you have put in every day of every week, working week, over the last 3 years. You meet here on a Monday and every day thereafter. I think you have shown incredible tenacity under some trying conditions, but I also thank you for your leadership. I thank the staff in terms of those who have supported us, those lucky enough to be portfolio leads. We know the work that's gone on behind the scenes, the engagement and the involvement of the community. I've never known a council to talk with its community as much as this council has. And I'm proud of that, and I think you and Deputy Mayor Dave should be proud of that as well. So I also wish there's going to be at least one face missing other than Councillor Searancke after election day on the 8th of October, and I wish you all well, and thank you for your service, Your Worship.
Councillor Rotorua.
So thank you, Your Worship. I too would like to extend the best wishes to you, Glenys, Councillor Searancke. You actually, Glenys, are a role model. I don't know if you ever realised that. 30 years ago, there would have been few women in, going into local body politics, and you did that. We have a young woman here, Tanya Tapsell. Tanya is 21. She came in, but you are the role model. You set the trail for women to aspire to political office at central government. So thank you for that. I also want to acknowledge the contribution that your late husband, Graham, and your family would have made. Every councillor that sits at the table, there is family that allow us to do our jobs. So I acknowledge the contribution, Glenys, of your husband, Graham, and family. I want to take the opportunity also to thank you, Your Worship, for your leadership over this term. It's hard to believe that it's only been 3 years since you've been in office. You have been a fearless leader, absolutely. I've been amazed at your constant, at every turn, of talking up a storm about Rotorua, your unshakable belief in the city and the citizens of our community, and that they have to aspire to a future that is different from the past, and that everyone is important. You have allowed new voices to be heard at this table, and you have allowed new people to come into your office that actually have said to me they didn't know we would be welcome. And you have changed the culture of our city for the best. So I want to thank you for that. And I want to thank you again for allowing me to accept the position as chair for strategy finance, and for giving me the opportunity to play my role there. I wish all councillors who are seeking re-election, I want to thank you. We've had a great time. We have to rise above nastiness. We've seen a lot of that, particularly in the last 12 months. We have to rise above that, but I've enjoyed my time working with councillors. I don't take it personally, anything that comes my way. We have to be big enough when you sit at the table and you want to make the decisions that are best for all of the community. But I thank the councillors for being my colleagues over the last term, and to you, Jeff, too. You've showed exemplary leadership as well as the chief executive of this organisation. I believe that you don't take things personally as well, and you rise above the nastiness that has often been sheeted your way. And to you, your team, your senior management team, and to all the staff, I thank them for their professionalism as they go about their jobs too. So thank you very much, and I hope we will see many of us back around the table after October. Kia ora, thank you.
I think it's largely been said, but I'd certainly like to repeat the words that we've enjoyed your wisdom, your knowledge. We're certainly going to miss your knowledge of the history of this council, Glenys. And really, not much more to say other than, as the 12th man in the green room, I hope we get another person who's going to join me in Meripeka for a few drinks now and again. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McVicker. Councillor Bentley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Glenys, it's all been said here this morning, and I can only reiterate what everyone else has passed on, but on speaking for Maggie and myself, who also served under you, I think that the wisdom that you have demonstrated to us and the advice that you've passed on has certainly made my tenure here much easier, and certainly Maggie made the same sort of comment. So good luck for the future, mate.
Councillor Maxwell.
Tuatahi kei te mihi au ki a koe. Glenys, for the council who's probably sat around the table more than anyone else in that, I've seen how you've operated. I wish you well for the future. And most of what I wanted to express has been said by my colleagues and that around here. But I also know that a tough time that you went through at council here was when your hoatane Graham passed away, and and felt it for you there. I think the arts community of Rotorua and the performing arts hasn't lost you, and I hope also the hockey area. So I do wish you well for the future. Matiata koe e manaki, kia ora no koe tātou katoa. And also, while I'm still speaking, also to Your Worship the Mayor, wish you all the best, and all of us that are 7 going for the mayoralty, 35 going for council, wish us all the best. And also to thank Jeff and his staff. This last term has been a term different than I've ever experienced in the long time that I've been on council. But personally, I think it's been quite challenging, quite exciting too. And I believe a lot of good things have happened. With those few words, wish us all the best in the upcoming elections, and thank the community of Rotorua. Kia ora koutou.
Well, Glenys, before you say something, I'd like to add some words that might surprise you. But everybody said it, that it had all been said, but I don't think it is known on the public record that it was yourself and Lyle Thurston that tapped me on the shoulder many years ago and said, why don't you stand for local government? Well, you perhaps got more than you asked for, Glenys, but yeah, no, it was local government actually at that time. Yeah, it was local government. So here we go again, battling on. And I hadn't thought of it, but it was inspiring to be asked by a woman to consider a future in local government politics, and I never forget that. And Glenys, I know that you're a battler, and you've been a battler for our community, and a battler that also respected strong views. And we both have held strong views, and that hasn't been easy, particularly not in the last 18 months. But leadership is not a popularity contest. And but I still have the respect of knowing that we are both going to live in this town. We're both going to continue contributing in some shape or form after the election. And I want to tell you about one battle that I do remember. And I think I won this one, Glenys. We were talking about the lights at the stadium. And I was advised by the mayor at the time that I'd better not vote with the woman. And the woman didn't like the stadium very much, but I stood for the stadium. I believed it. It was part of progress. It was part of development. So I voted with the boys. And I got a bit of a telling off afterwards. But that's back in the old days when you sort of had blocks, actually. So, Glenys, you've made a quote yourself that it's with a touch of sadness that you're going. And for me, it's a touch of sadness that the last 18 months have been a challenge for us both. But we've held our views, and we both continue to hold our views, and we will continue into the future. I wish you well in retirement, and I know that we're going to bump into each other over many, many instances in the future. And I wish you health and wellness, which I think are the two attributes that we all hope for when we leave this council table. And Andrea, it's nice to have you here in the crowd. And at one time when things were a bit difficult for your mother and I said, oh, Andrea, what do we do? And you said to me something very wise. You said, you're too grown up, woman, you'll sort it out. And we will. So, Glenys, before you say something, the staff also want to say a few words. So I'm going to ask Una to come forward from the staff, and she has a little bit that she wants to contribute to.
Sure. So, Glenys, I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to match anything that has been said about you and to you today. But just on behalf of my governance team who have rallied around behind me and of the staff, we just wanted to acknowledge your commitment to the council and community over the last 30 years. Coming into council in 1986, you have had an extensive involvement with many projects and issues that have shaped the district. My first recollection of you was actually in the early 2000s, and as a newbie at council at that time, then reporting to the Community Parks and Recreation Committee, and seeing you lead the debate around the relocation of the Toot and Whistle from Currell Park and its location later on down at the lakefront. This was then followed by strong passion and advocacy for local hockey to ensure that council paid for and supported the installation of the new hockey water turfs at Smallbone Park. Glenys, you have held notable responsibilities in your time as councillor. Chair of the Works Committee from 2001 to 2010, the Chair of the Infrastructure Services Committee from 2010 to 2013, a member and later Chair of the Statutory Hearings Committee, and Chair of the District Plan Review Committee. You've also been Council's representative on the Bay of Plenty Public Transport Subcommittee and alternate on the Bay of Plenty Regional Transport Committee, also on the Rotorua Tiarawa Lake Strategy Group. You have also represented Council on Kiwi Hospital, the Civics Arts Trust and the Upper Waikato Liaison Subcommittee, to name but a few. As the Chair of the Works Committee and later the Infrastructure Committee, you have shown strong passion for roads and roading projects. These have included the Mamaku community upgrade, the village's roading, footpaths and lighting, the two-laning of Fairy Springs and Lake Road, the upgrade of State Highway 5 south of Rotorua, upgrading and improving the public bus service in Rotorua, and being a strong advocate for rural road sealing and funding, and not to mention the performing arts. In your time as a member of Chair on the Statutory Hearings Committee, you have resided over some 50 plus applications and followed this as Chair of the District Plan Review Committee with a whopping 26 days of hearings and then some 30 plus days in deliberations. Glenys, this just scratches the surface of what you have done and what we as a team have seen you do. Just again, on behalf of my governance team and of all of the council staff, we wish you all the best for all the hours you will now have, and hope that you get to enjoy yourself and to indulge in lots of family time. Just as a small appreciation, we've got this over bunch of flowers for you here, which Carol would like to take the opportunity to pass on to you.
Yes, this is a day of mixed emotions as far as I'm concerned. A degree of sadness, a degree of relief, and yeah, just a feeling that I've done a job that I always wanted to do. I've never not wanted to do all the things that I've done with council, and my involvement in community groups has been where I came from in the first place. When I stood in 1986, I didn't really think that I would get on council, but I'd been involved with scouts, school committees, hockey. I was a player in those days, would you believe? So I thought, I'll give it a go. And the thing that really persuaded me to stand was National Council of Women. I was president at the time, and they said, we need more women on council. You can go, you can stand. And I said, it was a bit like Steve when we went, Lyle and I took her to lunch at Lewisham's restaurant, and we said, stand in the by-election. And she said, oh no, I could never do anything like that. So that's a long time ago, isn't it? It is a long time ago. So persuaded by National Council of Women and provoked by that terrible statue that was in the so-called mall, the electricity bolt, as you will recall. We laboured, I worked for Southern Cross Building Society at the time, now known as Heartlands, and we laboured lunch hour after lunch hour, getting signatures from people in the street, and we picked up something like 3,000 or 4,000 signatures protesting against the electricity bolt. It wasn't installed at that time, but we'd seen the design. And anyway, we presented to council, and I'll never forget, there was Trevor Maxwell, and there was Len Carl, and there was John Kenny and Johnny Lepper, and we made this presentation through the proper process, and we knew jolly well it was just all falling on deaf ears. And as we walked out, Jenny Hott said to me, "That's it, you got to stand." So that's the history behind why I got involved. So I just want to say thank you for your very kind words from all of you. As Karen said, you win some, you lose some, and when that happens, you just get on with it and forget about it and have a cup of coffee, or as the 12th man would say, something more convivial in the green room. So thank you. It's been 30 years that I have enjoyed. I will be still very involved in my community organisations, particularly in the theatre and mental health and care of the elderly. So thank you, and thank you, staff. I've known a lot of you for a long time, and I will miss the staff. Truly I will, because you have that contact when you wander in the building, and I will miss their friendly faces, but I'm no doubt I'll run into them in the supermarket or elsewhere. So with those few words, I sign off. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenys. I like that lightning bolt. There's the difference. Do I have a mover and a seconder now to go into public excluded? Thank you, Councillor Donaldson. Seconded, Councillor Rokauatai. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, carried.